I was speaking to somebody the other day, a client who'd phoned up, well, potential client who'd phoned up making an inquiry. She made the comment, "Please don't make my pain any worse." It's a regular comment that new clients make or potential clients make, often said with a smile, but I think there's something serious in what she's saying. It begs the question, what is it that hurts or can cause pain in terms of what a practitioner does? Because obviously the objective of what practitioners always try to do, good or bad, is to try and make clients' pain better. But it also indicates something about what the client might be thinking. The thoughts that go through my mind when a client says, "Please don't make my pain worse," are firstly, yes, I have, if I'm completely honest, over the course of my career, I certainly have had clients who've come in and have left the room after a treatment feeling worse than when they came in. It's a horrible feeling. It's not happened recently. I think it probably happened more earlier in my career. I think the times, I can think of one particular instance where it happened quite a long time ago, and the reason it happens, or the reason it happened to me, was when I was trying too hard to make somebody better. If somebody comes in with pain, there's obviously a lot of pressure, especially in acute pain, there's a lot of pressure to try and make them better. And I think back in the day, I might have fallen into the trap of thinking, oh crikey, this person's really struggling. I've got to do everything I can to make them feel better. And actually, now I'm a bit longer in the tooth, I've realised that sometimes less is more, and it's just, I was going to say it's just about doing the right thing. It's about knowing what the wrong thing to do is and steering clear of that, which leaves the options open for a lot of potential things to try, but what you're not going to try and do is be a superhero. I think that's the key. Is one can be tempted in this game to want to be a superhero, to feed one's ego, and leaving that at home is a good idea, because that rarely works. Sometimes it people do leave and say, "Adam, you're a superhero. That feels absolutely brilliant. I feel a million times better," and it's great when that happens. But one must avoid trying to aim for that all of the time. I think when it happens, it's a great product. It's a great byproduct of what's a successful treatment, but it can't be the goal because it puts too much pressure on. That sort of situation can be very demanding when a client has seen somebody else. For example, they've moved into the area and they say, "Oh, I went and saw such and such 5 years ago for a similar problem, and I left feeling brilliant." It puts the pressure on, thinking, "Oh gosh, what am I going to do today so that you've got a similar opinion of me to what you had of your previous client?" But yeah, I think increasingly these days too, I'm able to take it step by step and listen to what's going on in front of me. And the important part is somebody will be very different. A patient that presented to somebody 5 years ago and is presenting to me today, they might think it feels very similar, and it might feel very similar to them. But the truth is there may be a lot of different stuff going on. So it needs to be taken and treated in its entirety, treating the person as they sit in front, rather than just being goal orientated and thinking, "I've got to get them feeling great like they did after their last practitioner experience, because I need them to think of me the same way they thought of them." So, getting back to the original point, when somebody says to me, please don't make my pain any worse, often they say it with a light touch. I think there's two things that can happen. I think, or three things that can happen actually. There's the superhero mentality, which I've just spoken about. There's the cookie cutter approach. There's the practitioner that you go and see, and I think a lot of practitioners, unfortunately, are guilty of this, that they always do the same thing. And it might be that 60% of the time, doing the same thing, giving people a click in the same way, is moderately effective. 30% of the time, it may be fabulously effective, but 10% of the time, it might make things worse. And if you've only got a few techniques or not enough time to think about your application of techniques, and so you always do the same thing, then no wonder sometimes people will leave feeling worse. So that is something that I very much try not to do. Or I don't do the same thing every time. I think that's true of all of my patient encounters. I always assess and try and treat the person and the presentation that's in front of me that day with techniques and ideas that are specifically tailored to that specific occasion. So there's the cookie cutter approach, and there's the time-based approach, not having the time to truly think about what's going on and just doing the same thing. I think the other thing, and the other thing is the superhero approach. And these days, I think I'm quite comfortable saying that I can't treat everybody, and in accepting that, I think it makes me more effective as a practitioner, because it allows me to go into an appointment, especially with a new client, with a completely open mind. And I often find actually that some of my best treatments come when I'm sitting there thinking, I've not got a clue. I really don't know what's going on here, because I'm not thinking, well, I don't know what's going on, but I'll use this because this is what I do. When I don't know what's going on, my only option is to ask more questions, to try and understand more, perhaps do some assessment if I feel I can do it without hurting, without causing pain, because sometimes assessment can cause pain. But yeah, when I don't know what's going on, you have my guarantee that my approach will be to try and get more information rather than to resort to either the impulse that I must absolutely make you leave the room feeling better, or that I must apply the technique that I know that I always use, that works most of the time, but sometimes might not work with you, but I'm going to do it. No, I don't do that. I treat patients with as an individual, and what that means is that there is a risk that treatment, that seeing me might not make you feel better immediately. I don't give any guarantees that you might not leave the room feeling worse, but I do give a guarantee that I'll try my hardest to listen, that I'll try my hardest to help you leave the room feeling better. And if you don't leave the room feeling better, I absolutely guarantee that I will learn from that, and hopefully you will learn from that as well. And that next time we won't do the same thing again. We will try and find the information that we missed and use that to shape our onward treatment. And almost every time, I can think of an instance where somebody didn't come back to me, but on the instances where people have come back to me feeling, when they felt worse after treatment, it's always led to a better outcome because we've had that bit of extra information. So I hope that's useful. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with me if you want to ask any questions. So my name's Adam Richmond. I'm an osteopath here at Adjust in Lady Bay in Nottingham. I'm always happy to talk to people. Get in touch. My contact details are on the website. And yeah, that's all.